All right. Hey, Carter, you hear me? Matthew's here too. Cool deal. Sure, yeah. Y'all hear me, y'all?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. We'll see who else shows up here. So I'm expecting Zachariah at least, and probably Dante. So hey, y'all. I started putting in stuff in the grade books for freaking stuff that wasn't in. I know Carter and Matthew both had some issues with that stuff. Like, I'll go ahead and if you can get the stuff in, I can remove those zeros and give you the points for that stuff. So what's been up? I haven't seen y'all in a while. I haven't gotten like COVID notices on anybody in the class except for like the basketball players and freaking Dante and yeah. So what's going on? Y'all just like what's been up?
Nothing. I hate COVID. I hate this shit. It sucks.
I feel that. Y'all had the COVID, or y'all like just been life's been crazy, or what's going
on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we're good.
I had it for like a week and a half, so I've been literally in bed for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got you're good on Saturday, right? You can come back.
I should be good to go on Wednesday. I was gonna come into class today. Me and CJ we were talking about it, but my Canvas has been down for like 2 weeks, and I haven't been getting any emails. I have like 3 of the things done, so I can submit them.
Yeah, man.
I got all this. Yeah, I'll turn them in and all that, and I really wanted you to look at them because I didn't. It's really hard to make it's gonna sound like an excuse, of course. I can turn the 3 in, and I just didn't want to keep doing them if I was doing them completely wrong.
No, I got you, man. Yeah, man. Freaking turn them in, and I can have a look at them and freaking make sure that they're good to go and get comments and feedback. I mean, I've always been happy to do that. I will be happy to do that until the end of the semester. Like I said, like I was started like giving people like freaking zeros and stuff that wasn't in, just to maybe put the fear of God in y'all, and also just like I didn't know if y'all were like just had not dropped or what was going on. So freaking turn stuff in. I will regrade it. I won't give you a late penalty or anything. If it's in, I'll give you points for it and take those zeros off, and so y'all still be good to go. So yeah, you get that. I mean, but we're also kind of coming down to the wire here a little bit with the fact that like so after freaking Thanksgiving break on the 23rd, right? Like, which is freaking we ain't gonna have no more in-person class. It'll all be Teams classes or a remote meeting or whatever. That said, I'm happy to help people out by looking at drafts or going over remote stuff in meetings about the final paper and like working on stuff even one-on-one or as a group or whatever, so we can get that final paper freaking in and done, and then and be able to do that. So, but it's a lot more difficult, I think, to do it in via distance, right? With trading back comments on documents, and just do it in person, where I can like come help out with stuff like right in the moment. But people being on restriction for COVID or whatever shit, I mean, there's only so much you can do as far as like coming to class or in person stuff. So I understand that. So yeah, get those in. I'll have a look at them. I can have a look at them probably during class today a little bit, maybe even, and freaking make sure that those are good to go so we can get moving forward with stuff. Is there any questions about what's going on or like what the process is here or how to proceed? I mean, yeah.
Well, okay, how we're doing those evidence sheets.
Yeah.
What is that last one called?
The outline?
The outline. So what are we supposed to do with that?
So actually, let me pull up and share the freaking screen real quick. 1 second here. Let me pull up on the. So when you have the evidence sheets done, right? Or, I mean, you can start doing it when you got not even all the evidence sheets done, but just like say 4 of them or so. I mean, it works better when you got all of them done, just because it plops them in there, and then you freaking have the whole outline ready to roll. But like, you can start populating it when you have 4 or so, just so you got to get on track. Let me share the screen 1 second here. Let me close up. Team share screen. Well, hang on, somebody's knocking on my door. It might be somebody from the class. 1 second, y'all. No, free. What the fuck is that? Show tray. No. Application no. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, we're on Teams today, man. Yeah. You can. I'm doing the class on Teams right now. Yeah, come in, man. Here's your number.
Okay, I didn't know how to do the email formatting. Forgot.
Okay. Well, there's a workshop and a sheet on here. Hang on. Let me tell the people.
Okay, and I couldn't get on Teams last time. It wouldn't let me click the link.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we can freaking make it work then. 1 second. Let me pull this up for everybody. All right, everybody. Peyton's in the office right now, so we got one person in freaking person and the rest on Teams. All right, can y'all see
No way,
the freaking?
Peyton made a class where I did.
I mean, he did, man. He's here in the office right now.
Yeah, man. I didn't know we had it on Teams today. Nobody told me.
We'll check the announcements, man.
Oh, that's what y'all check?
Yeah, on announcements. That's because it's like announces what's happening, bro. You should get like an email notification for all the announcements too. Y'all see the freaking? Y'all see the outline I posted up on the share screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Let me see if I can manipulate that window and make it. So if I'm scrolling down here, can you see me scrolling down in the document I'm sharing? Or does it not?
Yeah, I can see scrolling down.
Yes.
All right, cool. I want to make sure I'm doing the same thing. Cool. All right. So when we get down here to like the introduction and stuff, we'll go over. We're gonna do that later today. Is like how to write the introduction and how to put there, right? But against the body, right? The body of the paper, right? So there's like literal instructions for like what to do for taking the evidence sheets and putting them into the outline of the paper, right? So it says like a first supporting claim. My first contention for the policy is, and then you take from evidence sheet 1, right? Your first claim for your first evidence sheet and just copy and paste it right there, right?
The whole thing?
Everything that you've written for your first claim, right? So you go to your evidence sheet, number 1, claim 1, copy and paste everything you've written for your claim right there. Right?
Oh.
And then you go down to first piece of supporting evidence, right? So then you copy and paste questions 2 and 3, right? So for example, you say, and these next little bits are examples of how to introduce the quotation within the paper, right? So you say, like, according to Miss Lovey, the English teacher at Barrington High School, freaking freshmen going to college are worse at English than ever because we don't teach them anything in high school, end quote, right? Or like, for example, like explain the source of statistics. So like, these are just examples of, depending on what kind of data you have to incorporate in the paper, right? These are examples of how to introduce the quotation properly when you copy and paste it, right? So if you have like your data point, which is your questions 2 on your evidence sheet 1, right? You'd be like, according to the FDA, FDA in a report in 2009, open quote, one is not nearly as addictive as once thought, whatever the statistics are, close quote, right? So these are just these little dots, these bullet points are just examples of, depending on what kind of quotation and data and evidence you have, how to introduce that into the prose of the paper. That makes sense?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm trying to sign in.
All right, cool. See if you can. I'll help you if you can't. And then the warrant, right? So it's question 4 on your evidence sheet, right? So then you would go ahead and you take copy and paste question 4, right? And you could say, for example, this information demonstrates. So like the whole this information demonstrates that, right? Is like a way you could a transition that is a sample. You could go ahead and use that, right? Or you could say, additionally, this data shows that, or this is just like a template, right? So you would say this information demonstrates that, and then copy and paste your question 4 answer, which is your warrant, right, from evidence sheet 1, right there, where I'm highlighting, right? And then you go down to the next piece of supporting evidence, which is the next evidence sheet. So evidence sheet 2, questions 2 and 3, which is your claim, right? And then your data, and then the warrant from evidence sheet 2, right? And then boom, so on and so on. You just rinse and repeat more or less, right? So you take your evidence sheets and you're literally copy and pasting your answers to the questions into the outline format, right? Because once you have the answers copied and pasted from the questions in that order, you'll have a logically cogent and a unified analysis as far as the laying out of here's my claim, here's my warrant, or here's my claim, here's my data, here's my warrant, here's my analysis, here's my transition to the next argument I'm making, right? Does that make sense, y'all? So that there are like literally like plug and play freaking instructions on the outline to take the evidence sheets and incorporate them, boom, into the freaking the document.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So then the thing, you can get in, Peyton?
Yeah, man. I don't know how.
All right, I'm gonna help Peyton get in 1 second. I have an example though. So remember those sample, or I don't know if y'all, because y'all have been COVID out. Y'all seen those sample evidence sheets I posted up to the freaking course site? Anybody? Like of a past students?
Like I said, I got my Canvas to back
I
on
think
this morning on this
isn't
last
that
day.
the one that you had posted a while back?
Yeah, I posted them a while back. So hey, Matt, go ahead, and anybody else?
I don't know how to do the MLA.
And like I was thinking, like I'm not sure if this helps you out at all. Like I can cram and do them all since I'll be here
No,
at my
that's
house.
cool, man. No, I mean that's all good. You don't have to do like go crazy on it. And just have like a bunch of really crappy ones. Like you can take a minute or two to do them. Like right. That's fine. I just want to show you some sample ones I put up so y'all can have like you're curious if you're doing it right or not, right? I want to show y'all where the freaking where the examples I have are, because these were good ones from a previous student, right? Yeah. So you go to announcements. Everybody just click on announcements real quick.
Sure.
And then go to the second one down. So sample evidence sheets. Click on that. And there should be 3 of them there, right? And, go ahead and I'll let you get there. Oh, I lied. Damn. Sorry. Hang on 1 second. That's the wrong damn class. Let me get to your class. So maybe I think it's in the same place. Announcements.
Oh, there we go, man.
So it's the 4th one that you got in. Cool. Peyton's in. So yes, the 4th one, the 4th announcement down. Sorry, man. Sample evidence sheets. You want to shut the door, bro?
Which one do you want to do first?
Oh yeah. I run a motorcycle today. Yeah. Cool. So I opened up evidence sheet freaking 5 or 6, or say 5 first, right?
Sure.
So let me freaking find. I did a example for a different class where I took all the evidence sheets, like these 5 and 6, right, and put them into the outline as if it was my paper I was writing. Let me freaking find that example, man. File, open research. Let's see here. Here we go. All right, I'm going to share this with you. Cool. Is it sharing right now? Can you see a new outline that has like an attention getter, and then has like this, like because the dangers of status quo, I propose a mentoring program one? Or can you see this, or is it not?
No, I don't think it's coming up.
All right, so let me stop sharing and share it again. Then Teams is kind of pain in the butt. All right.
Oh, man.
What?
I didn't know you was like that.
Yeah. That's why I want the door shut. Desktop window. Case window. Freaking outline prompts. Here we go. Okay. Share. I think we good now. Y'all see a new outline format?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is, I took that, you'll have to cycle back and forth. That evidence sheet 5 and evidence sheet 6, right? Those are both written by the same student of mine like freaking 8 years ago in Emory. And so I just use those as examples, right? So freaking I took those evidence sheets, right, and copied and pasted them into the outline as if like that was the paper I was writing. Like I was writing her paper, right? So if we go on to like, I'm scrolling down now, which is my first contention of this policy, is that? You know what?
I don't know how to get on YouTube.
Damn. Log in with your UTPP email address and your freaking password. Your student email password.
So like, are we gonna like have different sheets for the policy to put our evidence sheets on, or are we gonna put like all of the technically we're gonna put all the evidence sheets like information onto one policy plan?
We'll do that in 1 second. So let me. Okay. All right, sorry. So what were you saying about all the evidence sheets, bro?
So like, are we gonna have like just different? Because you know how we like, what is this called? The outline.
Outline. Yeah.
The outline. I said policy. The outline. So if are we gonna have like an outline for each evidence sheet, or like
No.
All
the outline puts all the evidence sheets together, right?
Yeah.
So the evidence sheets are like the data for the paper, right? The outline is like we're putting all that crap we did individually, right, into an outline that's then become the paper. Like this is like the first of actually like having a paper partially written. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just
So like,
pretty much-
look, like for example,
Yeah.
So pull up that evidence sheet 5. Everybody pull up that evidence sheet 5 from the samples. All right. Announcements. Sorry, 1 sec. Y'all can see the Word doc still, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
I just want to make sure it wasn't showing extra crap. Okay, cool. So evidence sheet 5 says, I hate you, Word. All right. So, right, it says the proposition, the policy they're suggesting, right, which is the same on the evidence sheets, is this girl suggesting that there's a mentoring program that connects women and girls of all ages to an international level to be created through collective efforts in the world's leading organizations such as WHO, CARE, and UNICEF. One of the problems in the fight against maternal mortality and maternal child health is the overall lack of awareness, education, and support in both developed and developing nations, right? So that's her policy, right? That's the plan she wants to do, is make a mentorship program for freaking young women and young mothers in developing nations, right? All right, so the claim for this evidence sheet is number 2. It says a lack of reproductive education and limitation of resources makes it harder for young girls to practice self-care and thus expose them to high rates of maternal and neonatal mortality. Don't worry about that and what that means. Just worry about like where it goes, right? So you pull up the outline again where it was before. Here we go. Right. So the first contention, right, which is the evidence sheet 1, right? You see how you're looking at the outline I'm sharing now?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
See how it says, according to Advocates for Youth, which is the source for that evidence sheet, right? Sorry, strike that. Go back a second. My first contention is that, and this is literally copied and pasted to the claim from that evidence sheet 5 we were just looking at, right? The lack of reproductive education, limitation of resources makes it hard for you. It's exactly copy and pasted her claim from the first evidence sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see how that goes there?
Yeah.
So like you're just using these kind of stilts and structure I put up, right? Like my first contention of this policy is that, which is the bold part, right? And copy and paste the damn exactly your claim from evidence sheet 1 there, right? And you have like the introductory couple sentences for a paragraph that is your first part of the body of the paper, right? Which is like my contention of the policy is that first claim, right? And then below that, right, would be where it says copy and paste the data from evidence sheet 1, right? So what I've done is after I've gone in and freaking pasted the data point, I've then removed all that like instruction, all the stuff that's in highlight and bold and italics and stuff, that are like the instructions. I pull all that crap out because like you don't want that in your paper, right? Teacher says do this and this and this, right? So this is the first data point from her evidence sheet. So look at evidence sheet 5, right? She's a bunch of bullet points. This is the first one, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So this is her first data point. So I just made it into a sentence instead of freaking having it be a data bullet point. So I took the name of the source, which is Advocates for Youth. So like according to Advocates for Youth, and just quoted the damn statistics she had, right? Boom.
Sure.
There's the next sentence in the paragraph. And then the next bullet point did the same thing, just made it into a sentence, right? And then there's a bunch of bullet points I haven't incorporated yet that are still in bullet points I can make into sentences if I want to, right? And then boom, here's the warrant I'm highlighting right now. This information demonstrates that. Copy and paste your warrant from freaking evidence sheet 1. Boom. Right? So there is your first evidence sheet all incorporated into the freaking outline for the paper. And you can see now how it's starting to resemble like an actual paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you just go ahead and go down, and next thing is evidence sheet 2. Freaking second contention, copy and paste the claim from evidence sheet 2. And then the data, and then the freaking warrant. Boom, boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just rinse and repeat for all your evidence sheets, and you're going to have like freaking probably like 7 or 8 pages of copied and pasted data that doesn't have transitions or freaking like, it's not all smooth prose yet, right? But you already have the vast majority of your paper in the outline ready to roll to freaking make it like turn-inable. Is that making sense? Is anybody confused at all? If you're even the slightest bit confused, please let me know.
No.
I think we're good.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. I think
Say what, bro?
I think we're good. I'm
Yeah.
good.
All right. Cool. So yeah. So anybody who has evidence sheets done, they haven't turned in yet to the freaking Canvas site, right? Even if they're not like perfect or whatever, I don't really give a care. Like get them in so I can get those zeros off and get the freaking things graded, right? And then start transferring data from the evidence sheets themselves to the outline. Just copy and paste stuff, right? Is that easy enough to do?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So we have, I know we have some. So what's up? All right, so freaking next thing we'll cover is the MLA source citation, that little thing on the evidence sheet, that like question number 7 and 8, I believe, right?
Sure.
That's Peyton's main crux right now, and so I fear probably everybody has maybe having difficulty with that, right? So to find out how to do that, go to announcements again under the course site. We're gonna scroll way down to, well, not way down, like 3 down after the sample evidence sheets to MLA. Click on that guy. And then there's a Word document I made to help with that. Go ahead and open her up. I'll hopefully share that in a second here.
Well, my question was on my first one, I have a source from a podcast. How would you cite a podcast?
Okay, so I'll show you. All right. So the question, so you know who the podcast, or who did the podcast is?
Charlie Kirk.
All right. So can everybody see the Word document I'm on right now? It says author, title, the source, all that shit? Or am I still sharing the other one? Hey, what screen am I sharing right now, y'all?
They're still on the second supporting claim on the.
Okay, Chris, sorry, I need to change my freaking the share up. Then 1 second. Stop sharing. Go to change.
And actually, one of my data points, I already knew that myself. I have to go look it up.
Oh,
so,
like.
So how would I cite that? Like patently?
I would, just find somebody else who said it too, okay. Or just don't use it as a data point. Just for just shut Charlie Kirk then for sure. Here we go.
Vando. No, it's Vando Dogan. Last name.
Yeah, last name, first name. Yeah. Oh, y'all see the MLA sheet now? It says author, title, the source, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So if we're talking about Peyton's wondering how to cite a podcast, right? So he's citing Charlie Kirk. So be Kirk, K-I. So author first, right? Kirk. Whoa. Comma Charlie. Type. All right, and then see how it says after author there, right? There's a period. Like it says one author period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all those little punctuation marks at the end of this numbered list, right, are important. You got to keep them after the kind of information it's asking for, right? So author, Kirk, comma Charlie, period, right? Title of source. What's the title of the podcast? Or the title of that episode of podcast? Yeah. All right. We're gonna get the title of the episode here real quick. So if you're doing a podcast or like a freaking season of Seinfeld, an episode of Seinfeld, or like a freaking a Dennis the Menace comic, or freaking like a Calvin and Hobbes comic or whatever, right? Like the source is the name of that particular comic or that podcast, right? The container is like the name of the book or the newspaper or the anthology or the podcast as a whole. If you're doing like Joe Rogan's interview with freaking Edward Snowden, right? The title of the source would be like episode 1493, Edward Snowden. The title container is the Joe Rogan podcast, right? Oh. Well, crap. Yeah. Well, find it, man. Figure out what it was. Google that shit. Okay. I need the title of it, man. You don't have to find the exact thing, but like, okay. So what was it about? Was that mail-in voting?
No, it's not abortion.
All right. So Charlie Kirk. Let's say that hypothetically speaking, the title of the article was "Abortion is bad." Okay. All right. Hypothetically speaking. And then period. And then the title of the container, which is The Charlie Kirk Show. Let's say. Okay. All right. Other contributors, if there was like a guest on there, or like it was translated into German in the one you heard it, right? And there was like a translator, you put that, but there wasn't here, right? So it'd be the you don't do number 4 version is like if you have freaking like version 2.0 of a software thing, or like an updated video, or like the director's cut or the first edition, or freaking or if you have like something that's like a National Geographic that comes out 12 times a year, right? It'd be like that's what that is, and the number is, so the version is like the 2012 edition of National Geographic. The number would be like which month it is. So if it's February 2012, like version 2012 number 2 for February, right? But this is not relevant right here, right? The publisher would be, I don't know, whatever it is. Like I'm not sure who publishes Charlie Kirk stuff. It's probably like
Podcast One.
Westwood One or Podcast One. Podcast One. Okay.
Well, I guess that'd be the container. That's the podcast that airs his podcast.
Well, that's the publisher. The podcast is Charlie Kirk podcast or show or
So that is a container.
It's a good question. The container is like, so if you're doing on a Ben Shapiro show, right? Like the episode is whatever the episode's title is, right? The container is the Ben Shapiro show. The publisher is like Daily Wire for Ben Shapiro, right? For example. So Charlie Kirk show, freaking publisher is Podcast One. Location, is like so for example, if something published at like New York City, like Random House, right? Is a New York City publication. So for freaking, I don't know if there's a location on a podcast, so probably online. So is there an HTML for it or is it
The podcast?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right. So you put the whatever the URL is for the podcast if it's streaming, right? CP : / whatever.
Other contributors, would it be
Yeah.
podcast one?
So no, other contributors would be like if it was a translator or like there was a guest on, if it was like featuring Fergie or something. Yeah. So the no version of the podcast. That's for like National Geographic, like it comes out 12 times a month or whatever. No number either. All right. So for example, this would be like the citation for the Charlie Kirk thing, if that's the data we have. And you always want to hanging indent, meaning tab in once, the second line. So this would be the answer for the MLA citation, right? Now question number 7, I think it is on the evidence sheet. This is what you would put for if you were citing Charlie Kirk's podcast right there, right? That makes sense? Everybody see that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and then the in-text citation, right, would be, so that's the next question, right, would be always a bracket, right? Author's last name. Since there's not a freaking, it's not a book, there's not a page number, right? If you wanted to put the timestamp of what you're citing, you could, you don't have to. But if it was like 10 minutes or 12 minutes and 36 seconds in, right, that would be what you could put. If you're citing like a page, if it's a book, right, like if it's, I don't know, who wrote freaking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Forget the guy's name. Okay, well, whatever. Say you're citing T.S. Eliot, right? The in-text citation would be Eliot, page number like 56, right? Boom. That's the in-text citation. And the New York Times, right? It'd be the author of the article's last name. So say Sheffield, and then page whatever of the article 5.
God, that's a lot of these freaky.
That make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So that's how you do the other things on the evidence sheet. And then so when you go ahead and like, let me share, stop sharing. So, okay, so like for example, who else is on? Somebody else come on? What's up?
Not in your house.
Y'all okay?
Matthew.
All right. Let me know if y'all need some help with anything, like taking some butt or whatever, maybe. All right. So here we go. Share this. Okay. So now I'm looking at the outline again, right? So this is why, for example, up here, right, the MLA citation is what follows the freaking quote. So if you look at, according to Advocates for Youth, right, which is the source for her evidence sheet number 5, then the statistic, yada, 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 pregnancy and childbirth, right, in quote, the in-text citation, right, Advocates for Youth is abbreviated here, right, in the second page of that publication, right? So you see how the MLA citation in text, right, goes after the data you quote from the source in your paper. And then that whole bibliographic citation, right, that long thing that has author, title, source, container, yada, yada, that's going to go with the very end of everything on your works cited page, right? You just copy and paste that from your evidence sheet to the works cited page. And that'll be how you do that. Is this a bit too much? Am I blowing people's minds? Everybody doing okay?
We're good. I'm doing good.
There's no location for podcast. No. The HTML, like the URL for the website is on if there's one. Will be the location. Yeah. Well, it'd be whatever that is on. So like here. Like if you click on, so here's a way to do it too, y'all. If you click on this like podcast, right, and open it up and it starts playing, right? Freaking then you can go ahead and why is it not playing? Hang on, Paige. Mess your phone up.
Let me see.
Play this damn podcast, Paige. Have it start playing. I'll show you how to get the URL. I told you I'd mess it up. I don't know this technology. But if you go to a podcast on a web browser though, right, and you start playing the podcast itself, right, you can either right click on the damn podcast, right, and hit like copy URL at current time, or you can just go up to the freaking what was that? The address browser in your freaking the address bar in your browser and click that and copy paste that, and that'd be the location of anything that's online or digital. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Sure.
All right. So I guess where are people at? What do people need help with individually? Like what could be helpful for y'all to go over right now?
Let me look at mine real quick.
All right, yeah, please, yeah. Everybody look at your own stuff right now and see like where you're at, and if there's any questions that are prohibiting you from going straight on forward.
So like on charts and stuff, like
Yeah.
if I is it okay? Like, do you want me to put like the chart into the outline? Like, do you want me to copy and paste like a picture of the chart, or like when I'm putting those
Yeah,
over?
I mean you could for sure, man. The one thing we gotta look, depending on what kind of chart it is, right? So yeah, put it in the evidence sheet you submit, right? And I'll freaking look at it for you and like have an idea of, because there's different ways to cite different kinds of charts in MLA format, right? Some of them, like if you're like quoting from data from the chart, right, you're gonna want to like have the chart just be at the end under figures or whatever. But if you actually wanted the chart inserted in the paper itself, you can do that too. There's just certain formatting things we have to obey when we do that.
Sure.
So I mean, yeah, basically, like, yeah, it's totally cool. We just gotta figure out like what the chart's saying and where it's at. You want to share your screen with that chart on it? Can you do that?
How do you share?
So yeah, if you go to freaking there's those little three dots on there, right? On the you hover over the freaking the screen, right? And there's the record thing, the camera, the mic, the little picture thing with the arrow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, open share tray. And then it's gonna ask you to click if it's on your desktop or like a Word doc, hit desktop window, and then choose the window you have open that you want to do.
All right. So can you see it?
Not yet. Oh, there, I can see it now. Yeah.
And it's just like a small like deforestation stuff.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely include that in the freaking in the paper for sure.
All right.
But you're also going to, when you include a chart, though, right? Just as a general rule for everybody, you're going to want to explain in words and language, right, what the chart's saying. So you can say, like, as we see from the following chart, right, and then whatever the chart says, like, there's a. I can't really read it. It's really small.
Yeah, can I hear me expand it real quick?
You can resize it, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, basically, like, charts are good and stuff, but you can't just say, like, according to my statistics, here's a chart. Next point. Of course. Right.
I wasn't gonna like put the chart itself. I was gonna, of course, explain it. But this is.
I mean, you can put the chart itself too. You can put the chart and then explain it as well. That'd be just fine, man.
Oh, that's a little
just
big.
make sure that your language that you're actually writing, right, is enough to explain what the chart's saying. As if like a blind person was like, well, a blind person wouldn't read your paper, but like a person who couldn't see a chart, right, was like reading your paper, they'd be able to reconstruct the chart based upon the words you're using.
Is it big? Is it bigger now?
Yeah, I can see it now, man. So you'd say something like, according to the source of this chart, whatever it is, right, the driving forces of deforestation in deforestation vary largely based upon the region of the world the deforestation is occurring in, right?
And I was writing over like the California wildfires, stuff like that, and this doesn't like exactly touch on it, but this is just like information like around the world, like how all kinds
that's
of like.
Fine. That's fine. The only thing you got to do, make sure you do then, right? If you have a source that's an applicable example that's not exactly on your topic, right? All you got to freaking do is like just make sure that you explain how it applies, right? Like in something as simple as like, I know that this is not directly dealing with California, right? However, the same forces driving deforestation, right, can be seen to be a factor in California too.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so what's his? It'd be like Kirk, right?
In-text citation.
Yeah, so that's the parenthesis. So it's like what you write. I guess you can't see my screen. Okay, you see. So it's like freaking parenthesis. The last name of the author should be Kirk, right? And then like whatever the timestamp is of what you're quoting at. So like if it's like 10 minutes and 36 seconds in to the podcast, right? You'd be like that. Or just whatever, just Kirk is fine too. If you count, if the timestamp's not available, that's fine. If it's from a printed article, right, it'd be Kirk, or if he was the writer, right, and like page 3. So it would look like parenthesis Kirk, or author last name, right, page number.
What about I get this just one page, like
then it's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's like an online article or whatever, right, you can either just like guess the page number, or you can hit Command P and freaking like scroll down your Google Chrome thing and see like what page it would be if you printed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I just do the one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what the in-text citation. The in-text citation is after you put that quotation right in the paper, then you put so like we shouldn't kill puppies in quote parenthesis whoever said that page number parenthesis here.
Oh, okay. So like on this one.
Yeah.
So I'd say his like big old long paragraph letter I put in there.
Yeah.
I just copied and pasted.
Yeah. So you copy and paste that and the citation right after it. Yeah. So you're kind of reassembling the freaking evidence sheets like questions into an actual like paper writing kind of format when you're doing the outline, right? Yeah. Nope. All right. So Matthew, you good with like the using the chart or whatever?
That was just like one of my better datas in this evidence sheet.
No, that's fine. I'm saying if but you're comfortable with how to use it now and incorporate it, or you have any more questions
yes, sir,
on formatting or anything?
I mean, yeah, you basically helped. I just didn't know like if you wanted me to add the chart or not, and that you answered the question. So
I mean, that's up to you, man. I mean, if it's helpful, I wouldn't make it gigantic, right? I'd make it maybe about the size it was originally when you had it in your little thing.
Yes, sir.
That'd be about good.
Yeah, because I've never really used a chart in person. That's why I was like, do you want me to or not? And like I said, you answered the question, so it's all good. Like
I mean, yeah, it's up to you. If you think it detracts from the paper, right, then that's on you. If you think it helps, then that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And I could probably look deeper and find a California one too, but that's just the one that popped up pretty early on. I found like a couple more. That one is definitely the one that just had better. It like explained it a lot better than most.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. I mean, like I said, as long as you explain to us who are reading the paper, right, like how it applies, you can use whatever kind of data, like from a cross example or a case study that you want, right?
Sure.
So I'm looking at the MLA site right now for freaking tables and figures. Okay. So when you want to freaking include a table, I'm gonna copy and paste this in the message on the Teams. Okay, these are like the MLA freaking rules for like including a table. And I'll go over what those actually mean in real life because MLA wording is just ridiculous. I was gonna say something else, but all right, boom, boom. All right. All right. So if we look, it's a long ass freaking message thing, but it's okay. So refer to the table and its corresponding numeral. And so basically, if you're gonna have more than one table, right? You would put like C table 2. So if you're talking about like, according to whatever the source is, like the World Deforestation League or whatever, right? The driving forces of deforestation in sub-Saharan Africa are urban development, whatever it is, right? And then you put in parentheses C table 2, right?
Okay.
Then you put your table there, right? So the table would be like right after the text that it refers to, right? It's flush with the left margin, like you had it, right? And then you would label the table, and then like 1 if it's the first table, 2 if it's the second table.
Sure.
And then on the next line after that, you provide a caption for the table, which is the name of the table, right? So so I'm scrolling down here in the message thing after all those bullet points, right? And here's the freaking example, right?
Yes.
So you would put table 1. Rate of nursing home residents among people age 65 or older by sex and age group in these years. That's the name of the table, right?
Sure.
And so you put it like just look like that, right? And then yeah. I guess it kind of sucks because it's not in the damn document. It's just sitting there in the message thread. Let me see if there's an example like in the document so you can see how it's formatted, right?
Sure.
Cool. All right, let me actually share here. Let me share a link with y'all. Y'all click on this link and go to the way it's formatted on the MLA website, okay?
Sure.
They have an example there, but it's gonna mess the formatting up if I put it in the freaking chat box. So the citations again?
Yeah, I mean, this one I got. That's on 5 of them, and then the first one is chart.
Cool.
Chart chart's more statistical, but my data is still like goes with what I'm saying though. It's not really like numbers though.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, that doesn't have to be your evidence and your data don't have to be numbers every time, right? It can be somebody's personal story. It can be like if I'm like, according to like some guy who got robbed at a polling station because he's a Republican, right? Like I can quote somebody's like individual story or like my personal story for like one evidence sheet, right?
Abortion is similarly personal. It is not individual. That is by the time of the abortion issue, someone else is involved. Whether fetus is more appropriate, the person in the early stages of pregnancy may be left to philosophers who study angel scans, pinheads. But most of us talk about a baby not staying an aggregation of cells with an eventual likelihood of turning into a child. It is the presence of this other entity which at some point that work.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good. That's like a I guess a rational analysis or a ethical analysis of it. Yeah, definitely. That can be a claim or a piece of evidence for a data sheet or evidence sheet for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I put.
Yeah, no, that's good. So yeah, I want to also not pigeonhole y'all too. Like you heard what Pate was saying, like a piece of evidence for an evidence sheet, right, or the data portion doesn't have to be like just freaking numbers, right? It can be like a story from history or freaking another example from another country of how the same thing happened and went wrong. It can be a personal story if you like got pulled over by police and racially profiled or some shit, right? And like your papers on like racial profiling, right? You can use at least one of your data sheets, your evidence sheets, to tell that story yourself, right? Or you get a best buddy that happened to, right? Or whatever. You can use a personal story or a story from the news or a story from history, mythology, or whatever, right, as an example of evidence, right? But it just can't all be that. You gotta have some data and facts, right? But a narrative or an argument or a philosophical position or a personal story is fine to use as a data point sheet, right?
Sure.
But you don't have to do that either. If you want to use if it's just numbers and statistics and data, that's totally cool too. But just like I said earlier in the semester, there are different kinds of data, right? Like Solzhenitsyn talks about like, you know, the failing of moral courage in America, right? Because of like the comfortability of our you know, post-spiritual humanistic materialism, right? And like we all have so many nice things, we don't want to go fight for like moral shit, right? Or freedom, because like who cares, right? That's not like a statistical argument, that's like a moral philosophical narrative argument, right? But it's still a piece of evidence for his claim, right, that we're getting weaker in the West and need to step up our game. Right. So I just don't want to pigeonhole evidence as being only numbers, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Other questions about, I know I kind of just like packed a whole bunch of freaking random answers to questions today, but like what other questions might we have about that will enable us after we're done here in like 6 minutes to freaking go forward and prosper and like get the outline and evidence sheets more or less done?
Okay, I was waiting for some. I have one more.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I was going over some like personal. I know it's like personal stuff, so like I don't know like how if you want that kind of stuff in the paper. But, like, of course, like one of another ones I was looking at just recently because I was trying to keep this one out of the way. But like President Trump's like his statement to Let me find it.
Yeah.
Just like the cleaning like the floors and stuff like that, and his push, and like of course like certain like donations and stuff like that. Do you want like a certain like, even if it's not like a doctor's opinion, but like
Yeah, no, he's a policy maker. I mean, he's the executive right now. Right? He's the commander in chief. So like he's a third of the government. And so like definitely his executive orders or directives, especially with executive agencies like the EPA or the Game and Fish or Conservation Department, right? Which are all executive agencies. Like he's the in charge of all that crap. So like definitely like even if it's not an expert, right? He's the one who sets policy, and enforces policy. So like definitely he's irrelevant. His quotations and anything he's pushing for are relevant to the topic for sure.
For sure. Okay, yeah. That, I mean, I just wanted to know a personal opinion. That's why I asked that one. That's about it, really.
Yeah, no problem. And I mean, like, even if somebody's not like an expert, right? Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, who the hell is this guy? Some freaking like QAnon guy from online or some freaking Antifa guy from online. Like, I mean, if they have a good thing to say, just go ahead and run with it. Just note what the source is. And if I'm like, okay, this is like insane crazy, then like maybe I'll talk with you. But if it's on point, like, don't have to like, find the guy's home address and write him a letter asking if he's a bullshitter or if he's for real. You can kind of just go with it as long as your whole paper is not just based on like only people's blogs, right?
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah, gay fraud. Yeah. So also the other thing too is like, especially at this juncture in the semester, right, where we don't get that much time left, like, be bold and brave. Like, don't worry about if like, oh man, I don't know if this one's exactly right, or like what this evidence sheet's like maybe it's not. I don't know. Like, F it. Fill out as much as you can. Turn the thing in. I'll give you comments and feedback if it ain't right? And we can just plow forward. Don't let hesitation or like worry about it being not perfect stop you. Same with the outline. If it's kind of confusing, but do the best you can. Freaking send me what you got. If you have questions, text me, freaking email me, group me, whatever, and we'll get going on it. So just turn crap into it if it's not perfect. I'll give you comments and feedback. I won't give you zeros on it, man. And then we can just go forward by putting it together as fast as possible so we can get a good paper out in like freaking 2.5 weeks. That goes for everybody. I mean, it's like 7 to 10. But everybody to do the evidence sheets and do the outline, man, it's gonna be 7 to 10 more or less automatically.
Yeah, just like putting all that.
Yeah.
Just add a few sentences.
Yeah, and we're gonna do so on Wednesday, y'all. I was gonna do it today, but I'm glad other people were here who haven't been here, so we could do this talk on getting stuff going. We're gonna do the intro and the conclusion in class or on Teams rather on Wednesday. We're going to write it kind of all together. We're going to use the Algerian Chronicles, that book I told y'all to buy, by Albert Camus. We're going to read some of that and like template the freaking like he says stuff in a really interesting, cool way about public policy. So we're like take examples of his stuff and like pull his words out and like put our policies in it, and not like plagiarize, like borrow, right? Because plagiarizing is taking their ideas and thoughts, right? Like borrowing a structure of their freaking style is not only like a good idea, it's also like a freaking outcome standard I have to show we've done in class for this semester for the English department. Like just borrow somebody else's style and put our own words in the stylistic choices. So we'll be doing that next time. And we'll be writing our intro and our conclusion by using Camus' words in Algerian Chronicles. If you don't got the book and we're going to be doing it in Teams, that's fine too. I freaking got it on my Kindle. I can share the screen with y'all. And so y'all can just come to Teams on Wednesday and watch me go through the Algerian Chronicles, and we'll write our intro and conclusions.
Yes, sir. So you want to meet on Teams? You don't want to meet in class? Because
I mean, we can meet in class too, but I'm gonna have Teams open too because I know that the basketball folk, I think, and Dante, I think, is out for the year. Or for the rest of the year. Yeah, they got like all remote requests. Like everybody's been putting like remote requests to finish out the year, and like they're freaking reducing student population on campus by half. So like they make people move out of dorms and go remote now too.
Sure.
So like, I mean, at least we're gonna have some people on Teams. So you come up to the classroom, that'd be great, it'd be easier for me, but we'll be on Teams as well.
All right.
Or if it's easier to stay at home, we can just do it all on Teams. Either way, y'all. Like whatever's clever. If you don't want to come to campus,
I was gonna bring like actual papers, but I can just I can submit them. That's fine.
Yeah, if you did handwriting or anything, just take a picture on your phone, man, and upload that. That's cool too.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right. So it's time's up, y'all. Any questions? Shoot me an email, whatever. Group me. I have my phone number on the freaking syllabus. You can text me if you need an immediate response. I'll be happy to respond as long as I'm not in class. Yeah, just get stuff going on. I'm sure we can all finish in time if we buckle down. And I'll replace those zeros if you turn shit in with a natural grade.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Any final questions for me?
No.
Good.
All right. If you forget something, you need an answer to it. Let's see me post it on the video section, on the teams, on the pages under Canvas, and on my YouTube page in like an hour when it's done processing. All right. So you can check back if you want to. All right. Cheers, y'all. See you Wednesday.
All right.
All right.
Later.
Bye.